me something. So this class, if you have not done so, I'm big on critical thinking. So this class, I'm hoping you'll pick up this skill known as critical thinking. If you look at the syllabus, I have critical thinking everywhere. If you're going to be an allied health professional, you have to be able to do critical thinking. What is critical thinking? Critical thinking is understanding a content in such a way so that you can apply what you learn from the content into something that that pertains to that content. For example, just give you a simple example. We talk about ionic bond. I'm just using chemistry. We learn about ionic bond. In order to be able to critically think, make sure there's a way to gauge how much you have understood. So really, that's what it is. How do you assess that what you have learned? Have you understood, or did you just try to memorize? Okay, trying to memorize physiology will fail at every level. So don't even try. Wasted attempt. How do you know you understood what ionic bond is? I tell you that okay, here is sodium, and here is chlorine. Tell me how these two will bond and what kind of bond that will be. You can explain that to me without the help of anything, looking at anything. Then yes, you have understood. That is critical thinking. Or I said, say this is atom A, and here is atom B. Here are how many electrons in the outermost orbit of atom A. Here are this many electrons in the outermost orbit of atom B. What kind of bonding you think will happen here? If you can tell me that, oh, this is going to be ionic because of XYZ, or this is going to be covalent because of XYZ, and you are right, then yes, you have understood the topic. You are able to critically think, meaning think, apply, think, apply. Memorizing collection of phrases and sentences is not understanding. Understanding is when you know it enough so that you can apply. How do you get that skill? First thing, repetition. And repetition is not taking things in a piece of paper, flashcard, and I keep looking at those flashcards. I have heard this so many times. I made so many flashcards of the physiology. I kept looking at them at work. All of those making flashcard and looking at them at work, basically, sorry, basically were wasted time. Didn't do anything. So let's start with how do you critically think? Those articles that I talked about, they are good. I have also given some tips. Pick every topic. Basically, each chapter we are going over topics. There are 3 or 4 major topics in a chapter, and there are little things. For example, we are going to do chapter 1, physiology of chapter 1. The main topic is, of course, as we know, homeostasis. That's a topic. Homeostasis and let's say feedback systems. How do you start understanding this topic? I know many of you have only learned how to memorize. Okay. Start with, and this can be applied to any topic, start with what? What is it? What is a feedback system? Let's say we're talking about feedback system. What is a feedback system? And try to answer that using your own language. What is a feedback? Feedback, talking back and forth. That's how I lecture also. Our lectures are geared toward this kind of breakdown. Break down the topic into a set of questions and answer each question. Learn the topic as if they are pertaining to these questions. What is a feedback system? A feedback system is a communication. Feedback, yes, communication. Communication meaning it has to be between something. Who are communicating? Well, it's typically one control, other receiving. Or, however, this is just my language. You can say that one boss, another employee, doesn't matter. Whatever helps you understand this. What is this? It's a system of communication where one system, which is in charge, is basically giving orders and other parts are receiving. Then take it further. Who's controlling? Who's receiving? Is there anything else? When you go into the components here, we got receptors, we got control center, I'm just abbreviating, and we got effectors. So basically, what is this communication between these? Where does this take place? This feedback system, where is it? Basically, everywhere within the human body. Every function, every parameter is controlled by a feedback system. There are receptors everywhere. Are there effectors everywhere? Not really, only certain things can be effector. What are those? Muscle, glands. Basically, these are the effectors. Who's the control center? Can everything be control center? No. Only the nervous system and endocrine system. So your components, anatomy basically goes here. Then you can ask, when does this feedback system work? When is it doing what it does? All the time. Anytime there is a stimulus, which is then you have to go like stimulus. What is a stimulus? It's a change. It's a deviation. Deviation from what? Normal parameters. So you can see that how things will actually link. You go from point A to point B. When does a feedback system work? A feedback system kicks off when a parameter deviates. My blood pressure deviates from where it normally is. My temperature deviates, feedback system starts. My fluid in my body deviates, feedback system starts. Right? So what, where, when, then how? I'm going to erase the top here. How is the process? Here you describe that when a stimulus arrives, the receptors sense the change. The receptors notify the control center. The control center decides, gives command to the effectors. Then based on the effectors, what the effectors do, it could be a negative or a positive feedback. Everybody knows feedback system, I'm assuming. So the whole process, you describe that here. It's better if you do bullet points instead of full paragraph. Science in paragraph, especially at this stage, may not work. I'm all for give me the info in bullet points. It's easier for you to learn, easier for me to grade. Okay. And at the end, last but not the least, you can say, are there any deviation to this process? Are there times when this feedback system doesn't work? Yeah. Deviation is basically, this is where you are talking about the pathology. Signs, symptoms. When does the feedback system not work? When you have an infection, an external entity, or when you have a malfunction, your organ systems don't work. And this is just one topic, simple topic. Later on, we'll talk about calcium homeostasis. We'll talk about hormonal 3-tier negative feedback control. We'll talk about hormonal interaction. But this is something that I kind of invented as thinking about how do I teach critical thinking. So I experimented this on myself. I learned some new immunological concept that I did not know. And I learned it this way, break it down. And it worked like a charm for me. So instead of feedback system is a system, feedback system is a system, and just telling yourself and going over reading again and again and again and again and feeling exhausted. And later on, I ask you some question, and you're like, what was that? I don't really know. But I worked so hard. That was wasted effort. Every chapter we are covering at least 3 topics. And you can break down those topics into this format. What is it? Where is it happening? When is it happening? How? In what? You are covering anatomy. In how? You are covering when, where as well. You are covering physiology. In deviation, you are covering pathophysiology. We are learning all 3 in this class. Don't stop there. Next, what you want to do, this is where the study guides come in picture. Can I erase all of this? Can I clear all of the drawings? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So next, study guides. I have some tips on how to use study guides for you as well within the module. Too many students take the study guide, look at the questions, find the material in the textbook, copy into a paper, and do the same, looking at it again and again and say, I answered study guides. Why didn't I do well? That's not answering study guide. Study guides are questions that I formulated to the best of my abilities, that if you can answer those questions as if they are in exam, my handwriting isn't the best here. Without help of note, no notes, no book, no resource. So let's say after you learn homeostasis, negative feedback, learn it like that. What, where, when, how, deviation. Bring up the study guide. In the study guide, you will find multiple questions pertaining to a single topic, because I'm asking questions in different ways so that you can answer different parts of a topic. Then you say, okay, question 1, question 3, 4, 5. These are hypothetical numbers, of course, I'm telling you. These are the questions about homeostasis. Let me see, can I answer them? And answer them in writing. Take some scratch paper, even better. Pine trees and I will thank you. So basically, now start answering, start writing. Put your notes away, no notes. Put your book away, no book. Start answering these questions as if you are answering them in an exam. After you are done, you answered question 1, 3, 4, 5, all were about homeostasis. Check. What are you checking for? Did I miss anything? I answered there was a study guide question that says, describe how the effector bring out a change and reverse the stimulus. Oh, I really missed that. I did not write much there. Okay, redo it. Ideally, if you have missed more than 25%, of what you learned, what you studied, you should go back, redo it, study again, do it again. Writing twice is way better than reading 20 times. Go through this process again. You are not done yet. This is why it takes time. Next is find someone that has time to listen to you. Well, not someone, your peer. Now explain to someone else. Who is that someone? To a peer. Someone else who understands the topic. This is where study groups come in picture. This is why study groups are so helpful. Explain to one another in study group. Assign. Hey, next week we are meeting. You are going to do this. You are going to do this. You are going to do this. And I hear this again. Students say, but I did explain. And they said I was doing well. It was good. They understood. I said, well, who did you explain to? Your boyfriend, girlfriend, your spouse, your kids, your parents? And most of the time, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my husband, my wife. What do you expect them to say? Honey, you sucked? Of course not. And are they in this field? Are they studying physiology with you? No. Well, then they don't even know what to ask. That was so great. Great. Now, how about the dinner? Okay. So, to a peer, explain to a peer. This pretty much completes the learning cycle. After that, active recall. This is why a class like this takes time. I apologize. My husband works from home and I can't turn the phone off. Active recall. What is active recall? This is an old phone. I can't even mute it. I mute it, it still works. Active recall is, let's say, you have 15 minutes at your disposal and you are just thinking, what should I do? I'm getting a little bored. Exam coming up. In that 15 minutes, you can just close your eyes and see how much of this I remember. I studied homeostasis last week. How much do I remember? Active recall is extract the information from your brain. Reading only is a little bit of it. Reading in the proper way, which is set of questions, is a little more complete. Writing creates that memory, which is a little stronger. Active recall basically forces you to remember what you learned. Explanation is a way of active recall as well. You have to remember what you learned before you can explain. This is how every topic should be studied. And this is why this class takes 2 to 3 hours per hour of contact. Yes, it is time heavy, it's content heavy for a reason. This is not just a GE requirement, it's a credit, part of nursing credit. So you are actually going to be picking up, but if you do it this way, like what I said, you should be doing well. There's no reason why you shouldn't be doing well. Plus, you'll be picking up extra skills. Time management, recall itself is a skill. Thinking, being able to think, being able to apply, being able to explain. And time management has to be there. Your studies, your study groups, you should not meet for 3 hours. Every week, Friday is 3 hours, or exam is on Monday, Sunday, we are meeting for 3 hours. We are going to get this down and we are not getting up until we got this down. No, it doesn't work that way. There is a technique known as Pomodoro technique, which is very effective, which basically says that every hour, break it up. If you're learning something, do not exceed 2 hours. Human brain won't take, especially heavy content like physiology. It won't take it and absorb and retain if you go for 2 hours at a stretch. Ideally, 50 minutes of learning. If you are intensely engaged in a study group, 50 minutes, you should break up at 50 minutes. Break it up. Add 5 minutes of stretch, go outside, walk around where you live. If you have access to a backyard, just walk a little, exercise your body, get the blood flow going. Come back, tackle it again. Do not sit for 4 hours, 5 hours. It's then the last two-thirds of your time is wasted time. You are learning nothing. These are again documented again and again via different studies. So my first day, I basically want to talk about studying technique and how to study. Okay. Any question I can answer about this? This is where the time would go.
Professor,
Yes.
when you say for that tip or the format you just gave us, when you say
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes and then 5 minute break and then another 15
Mm-hmm.
minutes, do you mean to
Mm-hmm.
cover what we just learned over again or to continue?
You mean the second 50 minutes, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, depending on what you are learning.
Okay.
If it's something like homeostasis and you are working as like a 3, 4 people together as a group, I think 50 minutes is more than enough. But after the break, after let's say, okay, let's just stretch, come back in 5 minutes. Um, and then after coming back, if you want to take 5 minutes and say, so, hey, do we remember what we just learned? Sure, do that. Recall doesn't hurt. The more times you recall, meaning the more you are forcing your brain to remember, it becomes part of your long term memory as well. There is no hard and fast rule that thou shall not continue with the topic. If the topic is a harder one, sure. For example, what topic I'm thinking of? Synaptic transmission is a muscle contraction. Oh yeah, everybody's favorite. It's a critical topic. So you learn that, you discuss about the different steps of muscle contraction for 5 minutes and for 50 minutes. Then you take a 5 or 10 minutes break. You come back. Now let's look at what are the different types of muscle fibers? What are the different types of contraction? Sure. There are some topics that will require that you break up the topic itself. Other topics, yeah, you can learn them in 30 minutes sitting. Anything else? You're smiling. So you like my answer, I guess.
Yes, I like your answer. Yeah, it was a good answer.
Again, I'm just telling, sharing what worked for me. I worked with insane amount of information. So I had to, it's like sink or swim. Nobody would help you. You got to come up with your own things. But this what I have, this is my 18th year at Grossmont. After 18 years, I have learned a few things. So I'm spending more and more time the first day talking about learning technique, then actually going into lecture. Because the lecture info, sure, physiology is complex, but the information can be found on the book. But many students, I find that you have never been challenged before coming to this class. Many students have never been challenged. If you're right out of high school, then yes, you haven't been challenged. California high school system. So this could be the first time that you are dealing with even something like critical thinking. Nobody asked you how to think. Everybody just said, okay, yeah, memorize, regurgitate, memorize, regurgitate. Except that a subject like physiology cannot be memorized. So tackle it the way, that's the nature of the beast. But is it doable? Absolutely. But you have to plan your time. Do not waste. Time is short, right? We all have multiple things that we are juggling. So make sure that if you are meeting, try to study with people because that interaction, it's something else. We are social animals. Instead of, oh, I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get this. It's better to just go with a study group. And study groups, I understand, especially if it's right after exams, there will be a little bit of complaining about the class and more complaining about the professor. A few minutes of that is okay. I have done it in my time. There is no reason why you should not do it in your time. But make sure that that doesn't take up half of your time when you are getting together for studies. That's a way of stress relief. 5 minutes, let's badmouth the professor out of your system, get to work. You don't have to like me, but you do have to do what I'm asking you to do, whether you like me or not, because that stays. So again, anyway, does this make sense to you guys? This is what we
Yes,
expect.
a lot. Thank you so much. I've always tried to learn how to do the active recall, but I think your first, what you shared with us, how to critically thinking, that will help me with the recall. So learning that way, then it will be easier to. So thank you.
Sure thing. I'm here to help. Like I said, I'm here to help whichever capacity I can help. That's what I'm here for. As your professor, my job is also to make sure as you exit the course, you are fully prepared for what's coming next. Now, if I give you the impression that, oh, it's all going to be hunky dory, nothing, let's have fun, a little bit of information, then I'm really being unfair to you guys because I'm not making you prepared. I know that you have to be prepared. Allied health programs are killer programs. Can it be done? Of course, this can be done. Countless students have done well in these courses. Why, you should be completely capable of doing it. But yes, it's a skill. And the skill, just like any skill, you learn it by doing. But if you don't do any of this, then, basically the result will match the effort. Okay, so anything else? Any other question?
Yeah, I have a question regarding Bio 145. Do you think that it would be, do you think it's going to be more difficult because of the gap in between summer? That's like a long period of time between 144 and 145.
Usually I have not seen that because I
Okay.
teach 144 and 145 and for last, I would say 15 years, 15 plus years, there hasn't been any 145 in summer.
Okay.
It's just that the 145, 144 itself, if you feel the physiology is heavy, 145 is extremely physiology heavy.
Mhm.
It's high on physiology. And that's the good part of these combo courses. I like teaching the combo courses because you really have time to talk about the physiology in details.
Mhm.
And most students have always liked that very detailed physiology because it's a harder subject to deal with. Anatomy, you can and do all of, not all, but a lot of it on your own. And keep in mind, you are learning anatomy so that you can learn physiology. When you exit from these classes, you go to the programs, when you go start working on the field, what are you going to be using? Anatomy or physiology? Physiology. So teaching physiology 145 in summer, basically it really compromises the content, the skill. And so we decided as a department that we're not going to teach 145 in summer. Have I seen people lagging behind, going from fall to spring, or not fall to spring, spring to fall without a summer 145? Not really. There are certain things that you are going to take forward, and I'll say what those things are. Homeostasis is everywhere. You are going to take the plasma membrane transport, the endocrine system. You are going to take part of the muscle and part of the nervous system. And the topics are such, and they are repeated so many times, that most students will either remember or all they will need a little bit, of time before all of this comes back. So no, to answer your question, have I seen students struggling because there was gap? I haven't. Students pretty much had the same, and you will see at the end of the spring semester, typically, there'll be burnout because it's a like I said, it's a content heavy course. There'll be burnout. And sending those burnt out students straight into 145 when there was summer 145 more than 15 years ago, yeah, the large number of classes, number of students, there'll be 15 or 16 students, and half of the class will not make it. So we decided that by 140, by 145, we're not going to teach those. Historically, we haven't done microbiology either. It's just that the microbiology waitlist got so long that we are forced to offer microbiology in summer, just to a single section. But yeah, these courses have never been offered historically in summer. But no, I haven't seen that. I see a little rust rusting of the skills, but it takes about 1 week. 145 students typically pick up the skills that they had and they're good to go. This is why I keep saying that learn it this way. Skills are skills. You don't really forget them. You may be a little out of practice, but all it takes is a little few days and the push, and things fall in place.
Like riding a bike.
Like riding a bike, like swimming, like ballet dancing or belly dancing for that matter.
And then I just have one more question.
Of course.
Just to double check. So there's no Zoom meeting for tomorrow's lab?
There is no Zoom meeting for tomorrow's lab, no.
Okay, but
That
moving
doesn't mean,
forward after the first week.
Yes, that doesn't mean you are off the hook. All those waitlisted students, please send me an email. I'll send you the Zoom video link, or rather I'll send you the YouTube channel link where you will find the playlists. Anybody can go, these are public. You can go and look at those. And the assignments that's due is due on Friday. For the first 5, you are going to be added by this evening. So no, there is no Zoom link tomorrow, but that doesn't mean there is no class tomorrow, no activity tomorrow. You are holding the class up by yourself. You are watching those videos and answering and posting the discussion board, etc.
So I'm first on the wait list for this class, but I'm also in your next lecture. Should I still go to the next lecture, or should I not show up so that somebody else can get in?
Okay, so you are on 2 wait lists. Is that what you are saying?
No, I'm registered
in there.
One.
Okay, you're enrolled.
I'm registered in the second course, but I'm waitlisted for this one.
Well, you are getting in, like I said, you're the first one on the wait lists.
Okay.
So if you want to, enroll in that class, that's okay too. Where both classes have the same wait list. Pretty much I have 16 here and 16 there.
Okay.
But whatever you do let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so that lecture is at 1:30.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are not there, can I just drop you from the course and have someone else? Or would you rather be enrolled there and drop from here?
I would like to be in this one. It works much better with my work schedule. So I will plan on not showing up to the second one, and you can drop me from it because Lovely. Like you said, it is very likely that I get added to this one.
Okay.
Okay.
It's you will be added.
Okay. Thank you, Professor.
Sure. The first 5. So I'm running over time. So again, a reminder, Cody, V, Isamar, and Gabriela, Elizabeth, and Genevieve. Check Web Advisor by 5 o'clock, something like that. And you should be able to enroll. And 24 hours later, you should have access to Canvas. The other 4, the Erica, Jessica, Yesenia, and Brianna, please send me email. I'll send you a link to the YouTube so that you can complete those activities. And we'll see how things are on Wednesday. I'm sorry, I'm doing the best I can, but that's where we are. Any question before we end the class?
Yeah, I actually do have a question. So since you do have the scheduled times for tomorrow, I'm still going to be trying to do it between those times, but
that's what I'm hoping, that none of you should say that, oh, I had no time to look at those demo videos. You are enrolled in the class, meaning you must be free between 9:30 and 12:20, and that's enough time to watch those demo videos and do the discussion board.
Okay, and then we can watch it at any time after that.
Anytime after that.
Okay,
but
cool.
I would recommend that you complete all the activities during the lab class. And from next week, not tomorrow, from next week onward, I'll log in, I'll create a lab link, and I'll log in for the last hour of the lab to answer questions, if there are any.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I didn't lecture today. Next class, Wednesday, we'll start with homeostasis, chapter 1. All right. So you guys have a good day. I'm just going to stay back for a couple of minutes just in case there are other questions.
Professor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I am second after those who were able to be added.
Mhm.
Am I able, can you send me the link for the following lecture for the 1:30 so I can attempt to crash that one?
Oh, okay. The class link. Are you on that wait list?
No, I'm on the wait list for this one.
Yeah, there is highly unlikely I'll take any crasher. I have 16 people on that wait list as well.
Actually, I'm so sorry. I'm on my self-service. It actually gives me, I'm so sorry, I have it backwards. I think I'm on the wait list for that one because it gives me the option to register, but it doesn't show up in my Canvas.
Option to register. Not sure. You are Erica, yes?
No, my name is Jessica.
Jessica S. Okay. Let me pull up the other sections wait list. So class has ended for those of you that need to leave. You can leave. Let me see. Where is the other section list inquiry? 6411, 6401. Let me see. You are actually here it, and I printed this yesterday, or rather downloaded it. This actually shows that you have dropped from that wait list.
Okay, I guess I'm a little confused on mine because it just says it says like to register and have an ad code. So I'm on this wait list for this class. Is that correct on your end?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know why it's saying register and have an ad code. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's what it confused me a little bit because it doesn't say I'm on the wait list, but it gives me the option to register for 6401. I just need the ad code. So that's why I was a little confused.
Yeah, not according to the list I have here.
That's fine.
Yeah, this one shows I have 16 people there too. Some have dropped and some have enrolled.
Okay,
But
thank you so much, Professor.
Yeah, that's what I'm going by. Okay, so for the rest of you, if there are no further questions, I'll see you on Wednesday.